Yes, why don't you?
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I never know where to start with these things.
You've got so much that you can
I
introduce.
guess I was in the first group of in the first facilitative training, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it, and it opened my eyes in a lot of ways. Although I've been working as a birth professional for 40 years now, and I have had my own workshops and relationship focused work. And Ellie and I have had some collaborative kinds of events that we did together, and we've got another one coming up in about a month, in less than a month. And I had a really good conversation today with my publisher about my book that should be finished by the end of the year. It'll have a 2019 copyright, but it's called Life After Birth.
Wow.
The new title is very much influenced by Ms. Ellie Taylor. Is called Life After Birth, a Parent's Holistic Guide with Thriving in the Fourth Trimester. And I'm very excited about that. And I had a wonderful comment today from Kathy, my publisher, who said, mothers will feel better just reading it.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
So that gave me a little bit of a thrill. So I have a real sense now of where we're at. I just received the copy edited versions of the entire book back today. I've got to add in some sections to it and get that back to them. And then she sort of explained to me the whole process that goes after it finishes the copy editing. It will go out to the reviewers, including Ellie. And my foreword will be written by Phyllis Klaus, and that will be going out to her. So I'm just really excited about that, but I'm also excited about this parents program and getting started in that work. But I'm about to sign a second contract for the next book that grew out of the first book on the adverse aftermath of birth. So there's some exciting things happening right now in my life. And, but also I really always come back when I'm not thinking about it, I always come back to this Becoming Us Parents program and all of the importance that it has to offer the community of childbearing families. That's enough for me.
Wow, fantastic, Diane. That's so exciting. I can't believe that about the title. Wow, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's so fun. Ruth's joined us. Hi, Ruth.
I'm trying to get my camera to work. Hi.
We can hear you. That's a good start. It would be great to see you, though, if you can.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Ruth, you're in Alberta. Is that right? I knew I was having a conversation recently about that. My head's all over the place at the moment.
No worries.
Sylvia, would you like to go next? Well, I think there was a whole bunch of people that were hoping to join us, but if you'd like to go next, we're recording it anyway, so they won't miss out.
I will. I am sort of your late starter. I've been through your program actually twice. My intention was to get started about a year ago, and that coincided with my husband losing his job of 26 years.
Oh.
So we went through a few months of searching and just pretty much family-focused stuff. And then he did find a new job, and we moved about an hour away. So I'm in a new community, and I'm very close to getting started. I'm really looking forward to getting to know this community, and it's much smaller, and it's about an hour outside of Atlanta. So everything is more rural here. I think there's a greater need for, I think that there are just fewer choices for people in terms of childbirth education and your class, the type of information that Becoming Us contains. I think it's so important and so valuable, and I really look forward to sharing that. My background is that I'm a registered nurse. I recently completed a program as a health and wellness coach. So I've
Oh,
actually been
wonderful.
coaching. Yeah, I've been coaching diabetics lately, so I haven't really been in the childbirth space. I certified as a childbirth educator about a year ago. I guess it was a year ago in April of 2017. So this maternal child space is something I've been interested in forever. I've also taken the PSI training. I'd love to certify with them. So I'm just waiting for the right timing and preparing and planning and as soon as the time is right, which will be probably in just a few weeks, as soon as we finish up this work on our house and get settled, then I can get going. So
Wow, wonderful. What a rich background you have to bring to the work.
I'm very excited. And I think that my experience as a mom and the things that I went through as a new parent, I have 4 children, 5.5 years apart. They're all young adults now. One of them had a brain injury at birth. So that's part of our story. He's 22 now, and he's with me at home, and we'll be doing some things with him too in the upcoming weeks. I'm really excited about that. But he's over here listening. Anyway, yes, I feel like I feel like I am prepared, and I do look forward to getting this information out there and working with new families. It's been a passion. Time.
It sounds like it from both a personal and a professional perspective. So you're planning on running the classes there in Alberta or Alberta?
Oh, in Carrollton. Yes, Carrollton, Georgia. So it's actually very close to Alabama. So if I can get it up and running, then I could probably offer the classes in Atlanta. I can probably check into Eastern Alabama as well. So this region. I think there's a need, and I think there are places where I can get it going.
That's wonderful, Sylvia, and I don't think that we've got any other facilitators in your area, so that would be awesome. And I think in a smaller community, those things just, I don't know, in some ways kind of count for more, or it's easier maybe to create that professional, referral network in a smaller community maybe. So, I hope that move supports you in that respect as well.
Thank you. I think it will. I think that there's a need in this area, and I think it'll go. I really do. I think there are a lot of opportunities.
That's wonderful. Wow. And I hope to get down and visit you at some stage. I love that part of your country. And I
would love to meet you. I wanted to come to Houston. My aunt lives in Houston, and I was hoping that I could work that out, but the timing just wasn't right. So.
Oh, what a shame. We had an absolute ball because I think there were about 6 facilitators there at the PSI conference. And so that's the biggest gathering that we've ever had, to get us all together. And it was just, we had a blast. If I've got enough time, I'll tell you a little bit more about it later. But, like for me, meeting people in real life and, being able to establish those real proper personal relationships is one of the most exciting parts.
Yes, and I know they were excited to meet you. How did the class go for Barb? Did that go really well, the convention?
Oh, she was in the grand ballroom, and so we had maybe 150 people there.
Wow.
And it was awesome. I teared up several times, and, I just felt like a proud mother sitting in the audience, watching her firstborn shine. It was absolute highlight of my life. It was wonderful. Yeah.
That is so exciting. I'm so glad you were able to come here.
Yeah. Well, I'm coming back next year. So I'm actually hoping to come every year really to run workshops, probably in different locations. I'll get back to that. I'll let Ruth introduce herself and then we'll talk about plans. Ruth, you couldn't manage to get the camera working?
I'm still working on it, but I can talk while I'm working.
I'm having some trouble hearing you. Oh, yeah, there you are. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
There's a little bit of trouble with your microphone. You might have to lean in, or is there any way you can
I'll give it a shot.
increase the volume, or?
Is that any better?
Little bit better. Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and been working through this program for a couple years now. It seems to, like everyone else, I keep having life interruptions. And I took part in the webinar in Oregon last year. This was great. And yeah, I have some history with family and childcare, and a doula. Most of my interest again in education. I think I know I said this before, but I think so much can be prevented with family breakup, family trauma, postpartum, all sorts of things with just some really simple education. So love your book, trying to still work through the program and really hope to get that in here in Canada soon.
Wonderful, wonderful. So in Alberta, so it's I'll email you the details of the two other women that are in Alberta, and they're actually presenting at a conference.
Yeah.
Let me tell you if I can find the email quickly. The conference that
Yeah, that'd be good.
So I don't forget. No, I can't find it. I'll email you later.
That's okay, no worries. Yeah, that would be good.
I'm not clever enough to do two things at the same time on my computer. Well, welcome. It's lovely to see you, Ruth.
You as well.
Really nice to see you. I had a couple of things, I guess, that I wanted to share with you. One is that I guess the first is that I'm starting to get more organised. Life has been very chaotic for the last couple of years, I would say, but I have some help now. That means that it's not just, things aren't just dependent on me and my life and what's happening in my life. So hopefully that will create a bit of stability going forward. A couple of the things that we'd like to start doing that we actually had a big, while we were in Houston, I actually had a really big forward planning day with Jen Dudley, who I would love to introduce you to soon when she comes on board, and Barb Suarez, who you know is becoming our first facilitator, has been running the classes for over 12 months now in Portland, in Oregon. She's our very first mentor, and so she's available to help mentor people through the setting up and the running of the classes. We've also got a new certification step for facilitators who are wanting to run the classes. So we're still figuring out the process of that, but at the moment it's submitting paperwork, having a session, a Zoom session with Barb to talk about facilitators' experience running classes, if they have experience, if they've already run classes, if they're planning on running them privately or as part of an organisational setting, you know, what that will mean for them going forward. Do they have supervision and, you know, structure around that, or are they on their own? All those sorts of things. So that's really, really exciting to be able to provide that support and that direction for facilitators to help them get up and running. One of the things that I noticed when I presented at the donor conference in Fort Lauderdale at the end of my trip in July was that the educators were really asking for more mentoring, more support. So I'm thrilled that we're, you know, able to provide that for our facilitators. So I'm incredibly grateful that Barb's kind of stepping up into that role. The other couple of we discussed a whole bunch of things. There's so much going on and it's so exciting. I don't kind of know where to start, but just, you know, with the logistics side of things, I hope to be sending out a regular monthly newsletter to all the facilitators to let them know, you know, what's going on sort of as it happens and keep everybody in the loop. I'm planning on doing these live calls quarterly. So how it started off was that we were running the classes twice a year, and I was going to do, the plan was to do, you know, the calls at the beginning and at the end of each class, but life getting in everybody's day, including mine, people weren't starting and finishing at the same time, so there was no way to kind of coordinate that. So what I'm planning on doing is running them quarterly and just having all students be able to join, because the big thing for me is creating relationships and kind of like a support network, and so I want all students to be able to draw from that. So new students and village elders like Diane, and I'd like to be able to keep in contact with people as well. So that's going to happen. We will have a new website soon. So everything at the moment is housed on my ellietaylor.com website. I registered that domain name thinking that at some stage we would have a becomingus.com website. But what happened is somebody has bought the becomingus.com domain name, but they're not using it. And I approached the person to see if I could buy it off them, and they said that they weren't willing to sell it at this time. And that's kind of been holding us up for a bit, because it's kind of like the domain name. So we've been racking our brains for months and months and months about some sort of an alternative to becomingus.com, and we've got a couple that I've registered. But then somebody mentioned to me just recently that Becoming Us is trademarked, and it's also registered as a business name, and that gives me some cause to have ownership of the domain name, that people can't just register domain names and park them and not use them in the hope that somebody's going to approach them with, you know, $1 gazillion and buy it off them, because they need it basically to run their business. So I'm not really sure what course of action I'm going to go down yet to get that. But the plan is to have some sort of a becomingus.com website that everybody can use, that everybody can refer to. All the facilitators who have been through the certification process and who are running the classes will have a web page on there that can link back to their own personal or business website. We do have that on ellietaylor.com at the moment, but it's kind of stalled because we're not sure, because everything's going to be moving off the ellietaylor.com website. So that's happening behind the scenes, and I don't have a resolution for it yet, but it's something that we're working on. Does anyone have any questions about anything that I've spoken about so far?
I don't have a question, Ellie, but I was just wondering, what if you did something like worldwide Becoming Us, or something along those lines? Because it is all over the world. And
it is all over the world, yeah. And .com, you're right, Diane, and .com is a North American suffix, isn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, if it's worldwide becomingus.com or something along those lines, international Becoming Us, it allows you to sort of claw back that title.
Well, I've got Becoming Us Adventure, I've got Becoming Us Journey, I've got Becoming Us Parenthood, I've got Becoming Us Family, which is the one that I really like.
Okay, never mind.
I like Becoming Us Family, because Becoming Us by itself doesn't really explain who we are and what we do. There was, I think, a TV show about, about transsexual or somebody transitioning, and that was called Becoming Us. So Becoming Us Family, it's clear what it's about. So that's my kind of front runner at the moment, I suppose. And in fact, Barb is presenting at the Kappa no, she's not presenting. We've sponsored. That's exciting. So Becoming Us is sponsoring a table at the Kappa conference. So this is our first time as a sponsor, and she's got a nice big banner with becomingus.family.com as the web domain, and at the moment it's just got a redirect to my ellietaylor.com website. But I'm very, very keen to have a Becoming Us presence and to take the focus off Ellie Taylor. Like, I don't want to be famous, but I want Becoming Us to be known worldwide. So that's going to free up some psychological space in my brain to have those two separated. So I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah.
Is Kimberly planning to do anything with Becoming Us at the Kappa conference? Or is it Barb? Is she going to be there?
Barb's going to be there, but Barb's just manning the table and attending the sessions. She actually submitted on behalf of Becoming Us. She was going to submit about her pilot, her 12 months running the classes, and unfortunately she was rejected. Yeah, so we're a little bit disappointed about that. Kimberly will be there, and I think Kimberly might be presenting on the New Parent Educator program.
Oh, probably so. She teaches that, so yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Which I'm really pleased that Becoming Us is mandatory reading for the new parent educators, which is fabulous. It's wonderful to get that recognition.
Yeah.
But we really like to be aligned with CAPA. Everybody from CAPA has been incredibly supportive of Becoming Us right from the very beginning, and I really want to have a strong relationship with all the different doula training providers. So yeah, I wish I could be there. I really wish I could be there, but where am I on the 28th? I think I'm in Rome. I'm not sure. I'm in Europe
I would love
somewhere.
to be there too, but I can't do it this year. But it's in Tucson, I think, this time. So.
Say that again, Sylvia.
I said I would love to be there too. It's in Tucson, I believe. But Kimberly
Yes,
just moved back to Arizona, and I know that she thinks really highly of this program, and she's somewhat involved, so she'll probably still be a good representative. She'll probably still be able to share it.
I'm sure she will.
Materials in the newborn, I bet you eventually you guys will have more of an involvement. But Becoming Us and CAPA, I can see you two merging at some point. They just need to get to know more about you.
I missed the last bit that you said, Sylvia, sorry.
Oh, I said, I think they just need to get to know more about you and about the program.
Yeah, I hope so. There's a lot of synergy there for sure, and has been for years, right from when the Best Pregnancy Ever and Becoming Us were first published. So that's 4 years ago now. So yeah, I hope so too. I mean, I would like to be able to make those big conferences on a regular basis. Not possible at the moment, but hopefully going forward, it's nice to be a part of them. I love conferences. I love the opportunity to hang out with people and talk about our mutual passions. So we'll see. I'm bummed I can't be there for this one.
Well, Rome sounds like fun.
So say it again.
I said Rome sounds pretty good.
Rome sounds pretty good. And I'll be with my husband, my girlfriend. So yeah, true.
That sounds fun. Yeah.
It does. So I think I've been telling everybody that how that trip came about was I've been invited to speak at a conference for parents in Latvia. Yes. So that was an email that just came in my inbox one morning about a year ago, an invitation to speak at a conference for parents in Latvia. And I'm like, wow, I really probably should know where Latvia is, but I don't. And so I had to look on a map, and I found out that it was west of Russia, right on the Baltic Sea. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's somewhere that I would never have thought to visit otherwise. And what a fantastic opportunity. So of course I emailed back and said yes straight away. And then my husband said, well, I'm coming to Latvia too. Like, I'm not going to miss out on that. So
how perfect.
Yeah, so we're both going. So we're flying to Rome. I'm meeting a girlfriend and her husband there, so there'll be the four of us, which will be really nice. And then we're going to Budapest, because Budapest is somewhere that I have wanted to go for a while, but couldn't figure out how to fit that in with anything else. But luckily, it happens to be halfway between Rome and Riga. So we're going to Budapest for a couple of nights, and then Latvia for the conference, and then I'm flying to London, and then Con, my husband, is flying home from there. And then I'm in the UK for a week and a half, because I've got 3, maybe 4 events while I'm there. One of them with Diane up in the northwest of England. So that's very exciting. So we get to share a stage again. Yeah. So Becoming Us hopefully will start spreading to the UK. I think
That sounds like it.
Yeah. There's only a couple of facilitators there at the moment. I don't think anyone's actually running classes there yet. So it would be good to get some classes up and running in the UK. I have a personal connection to the UK because that's where my dad was born, and most of my family actually live there. So yeah, that would be very gratifying for me. So the other really, really, really exciting thing that I have to share, and it's amazing. You may have heard me talk about it leading up to now as a looks like, as a maybe, as a hopefully, now are going to happen. So Nikki Lively is at the Family Institute at Northwestern University. Nikki is hoping to get, well, she's planning on getting the classes up and running very, very soon, before the end of the year. Nikki is actually partnering with Northwestern to do a full IRB approved study of the Becoming Us Before Baby program.
Wow. Is Northwestern in Chicago?
Northwestern's in Chicago.
Okay, wow, Ellie, that's really exciting.
I know, for all of us, Sylvia. It's a university with a wonderful reputation. Diane's son went there, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Just graduated,
As did the Duchess of Sussex.
Oh, wow.
It's a great university. It's got a great reputation. So the Family Institute and Northwestern are partnering. They're going to do a full IRB approved study. So assuming it goes well, we will have some proper outcome data, some proper statistics to show how effective the program is in doing all the things that we hope that it does, and that I'm sure that it does from the anecdotal feedback that we've been getting from the class participants. But we'll actually be able to publish papers based on it. We'll be able to present the research at professional conferences. Everybody can. Any facilitator that aspires to presenting at professional conferences, or who wants to start running the classes in their community, and there just happens to be a conference that's got all the different referral providers there. It's a great opportunity to, say that, for example, we know that this class reduces the risk of postnatal anxiety by 30% or whatever. That's a really robust, evidence to share with providers to encourage them and have confidence to send.
The hospital systems would love that.
They basically, you can't get in anywhere very much. I've tried without that. But once you've got that, then that really opens some big doors. So we can reach a multitude of parents that way once we've got that. So that's just huge. It's just mind blowing for me that's happening. So,
well, congratulations, Ellie. You have worked so hard, and you have such an amazing program. And I know that research is going to show show the value of it, and show why it's important and why everybody needs to get involved and spread it around. Because there's really nothing else like it.
There's not. Bringing Baby Home, Gottman's Bringing Baby Home is the closest that there is to it. But I have to say, even Gottman hasn't done the independent university study. So, it's even, I feel so audacious even to say this, but it's even, assuming everything goes well, of course, going to be beyond that. It's even going to be, I guess, proven in a way that even Gottman's program hasn't been through that rigorous, evaluation. So I'm really grateful, incredibly grateful to Nikki for doing the work and for spearheading this, I'm just so excited because it means a lot of parents are going to have a lot more access to it. So
yes,
yeah,
and it'll really probably, that's really important on a worldwide basis. That research will carry over all over the world.
That's right. I mean, these papers are shared and are picked up and then become the basis for further research and further study. And
Yes.
I'm a frustrated PhD candidate. I would have loved to have done a PhD, but I had perinatal mental illness with both of my first two kids, and so I didn't end up even finishing my degree. I keep telling everybody that they should give me a honorary doctorate for all the work that I've done.
Absolutely.
I'm hoping that somebody will offer that to me at some stage, because I've certainly earned it, or I feel like I have certainly earned it.
You
It
certainly
might end
have
up
done all the work.
I was gonna say it might end up to be Northwestern.
Yeah, well, that would be nice. But even to participate and have my name on some of the papers and as a co-author is huge for me. It's a huge personal achievement. So very exciting news. So not just for me, but for all of our facilitators going forward to know that this is coming, and then to have that behind them. And we were even talking at our last meeting about the possibility of using the data from other facilitators to build the cohort numbers, because Barb's had, I think, over 80 couples go through the program. So, she's got them pretty much scheduled back to back, both at Legacy and in the private community for the next year. So if we can add those numbers, we're building a really solid kind of evidence base with the bigger cohort. So, it's shaping up to be something really, really special.
That's really exciting. That makes me feel really motivated. I think I'll have to go to Atlanta and check and see if I could offer the class at the Atlanta Birth Center, because there are a number of ladies that are part of PSI that probably went to the conference, and they're probably now familiar with Becoming Us. And I know that they have meeting space. So that is something I really want to do. And so I will try, and then I will give you my data.
Ah, fantastic. That's awesome, Sylvia. I mean, the more the merrier. I mean, it's a bit of a pain for participants. It means that there's a lot more paperwork for them to fill out. But I think that, it's such a prevention is so overlooked and yet so vital. I get really passionate about this. There's families failing because they are not getting this really basic information, and it's just it just hurts my heart that we've got families that are falling apart at a time that they think that they're happier than ever, because they're not getting this basic information ideally before they need it. I don't need to I'm preaching to the converted, but having that study done. And what I'll do is when we have even the initial data, I will do some sort of media campaign based on it to get it out there, to get the name out there associated with the study and the research, so that people are bombarded by so many things these days. It's hard for them to know what to pay attention to. And so, I'll do some sort of a global media kind of push. I'll do a press release and some sort of a campaign to get it out there once we get the preliminary data, and then follow that up as we get more data and kind of keep it going, and hopefully we'll get firstly a tipping point and then some sort of a snowball effect. So we'll see.
Well, that's a huge step in the right direction. I mean, that's going to give you a lot of exposure. And I think that if people realize how helpful it could be, there's at least attention on maternal mental health now that there hasn't been. I feel like it's really gaining some traction, at least in the United States. So
absolutely, and that's been my observation too. Thankfully, finally, after all this time, we still need to catch up with fathers' mental health. That's more on the radar here and in the UK, thanks to the work that Mark Williams is doing. And Mark is just a dad. I'm presenting, and Diane and I are presenting with Mark in a couple of weeks' time. So, you know, we're getting there. We're getting there. And then, you know, my hope is that once we've really got the focus on the whole, you know, perinatal mental health as an issue, that we can then start thinking about prevention, and that then the focus can expand to prevention. So yay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's huge. It's absolutely huge. So that's my exciting, or our exciting news.
Well, that's very exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. I still have to pinch myself when I still can't quite believe it's going to happen. So anyway. So any questions about anything? Any questions about the certification process, about the website, about the study?
When you add the certification step, will we need to do that? Will we need to complete that as graduates, or how does that work?
Yes. So anyone, we sent out some emails at the end of last year to let people know that we were introducing the certification process, and that if they were ready to go through it at that time, to, you know, jump on board as soon as possible, because there was a couple of people that were going to go through while we were setting it up initially, and I don't think we had anybody at that time that was ready to do it. So now we've got it set. Well, we're setting it up. It's not completely set up, but Barb is ready, imminent. There's a couple of people lined up to do it. So if you want to do it, if you want to certify, you need to let Barb know, or you need to let me know, and I'll let Barb know.
Okay.
And we'll set up the back end for it. We'll set up the interview. I think that's the piece that we haven't done yet. And then once you're certified, you'll get the program. And that's what I needed to tell you. So Barb's been running the program for over 12 months. I had 2 facilitators in Melbourne here in Australia that have run the class a couple of times. They were looking at it more through a therapist kind of lens, and they actually had a couple of great suggestions for additions to the program and some tweaks. I just finished those yesterday for both the before and the after program. So we're going to upload the 2 new programs. There will be more coming, but I don't want to hold people up because I'm going overseas for 3 weeks and I won't get to it until I get back. The other thing that kind of complicates things a little bit is I'd like to do a 2nd edition of the book next year. So there's been some more research that's come through that I'd like to add into it. There'll be a couple of minor changes that may change some of the branding, because I want the new cover to tie in. It all needs to tie in. I've learnt more than I would want to know or need to know about branding over the couple of years, and I actually really enjoy the creative side of it, but some of it does my head in. So everything, you know, the handouts might change in terms of how they look, all that sort of stuff, but that's probably not going to happen till the end of next year, and that's fine. I mean, you know, that stuff changes with well-established programs as well. So it's just part of running a business. Sylvia, you mentioned that you'd done the PSI training, and I would love to hear, it doesn't have to be part of this conversation, but I'd love to hear how they compare, because I'm getting asked the question, how does Becoming Us compare to PSI, compared to Selene, compared to Gottman's Bringing Baby Home? So at some stage, can we have a conversation about that?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, fantastic.
I can just tell you really quickly, I did the webinar form of it, so I took it over, I think it was 8 weeks, and there was a lecture, and then there was a little quiz that followed. So I would say that the big difference is just that the PSI training really, really focuses on the on postnatal depression, anxiety. They covered the various bipolar manifestations. The class that you can attend in person goes into a lot of the pharmacology. So I would say that the two really complement each other, because Becoming Us is just a really good foundation for how to have a healthy relationship and how to transition into parenthood in a healthy manner. I think that it's the Postpartum Support International training was definitely focused on how to assist people when they're already experiencing any kind of mood disorder.
Okay.
So
Fantastic.
that is more about being a volunteer, helping people get plugged into the resources in their communities. How there's another program that they have that teaches you how to be a community facilitator, to run support groups and things like that. That's a separate training. But I think that they all go together really well. So I would highly recommend anybody who's interested to check it out and take it. And if you can take it by phone, then it's a really easy way to do it, if you can't travel and be there in person.
Wonderful. That's so great
Yeah.
to hear. Okay, fantastic. So the PSI conference, as I said, was wonderful. It's probably, my favorite to attend, just because there's so many different types of professionals there. So you get to see so many people that you wouldn't see in one room altogether necessarily. I love Wendy. I've met Wendy a couple of times now. I just adore that woman. And I mean, for me to even have somebody the first time that they were asking questions, and to have the PSI in the same sentence as Becoming Us was such a moment.
That's exciting. Yeah, she seems like a really sweet person, and she's very knowledgeable. She's the one who leads the training too, so she does a really good job.
I would do it just for that. Yeah, I adore Wendy. Fantastic. That's so good. You said something else.
I have to say goodnight. I'm wilting here. I'm loving listening, but I do have, it's almost going on 1 o'clock, so I'm going to say goodnight. Nice to meet you all. And
nice to meet you. Good night.
Even in gray, Sylvia.
Yeah.
Glad to be here, and I hope I'll be able to make future ones, because I do love interacting with Becoming Us people.
Well, good luck with your book.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for hanging in, Diane. I'll see you soon.
Okay.
In person. Bye-bye. Oh, dear. Diane has been incredibly helpful all the way along. She didn't mention it in her introduction, but she supervises people at, I think it's Liverpool University, I might have that wrong, or Manchester University. She supervises people that are doing their masters for their dissertation, and she's got a background in qualitative research. So Diane was helping us to develop some qualitative research questions, because of course with the what I'm interested in just as much as the quantitative research that Northwestern are going to be doing is the more personal stuff, the impact of doing the classes in participants' own words. So we're going to have both, which is great. They're designing it so that we've got both qualitative and quantitative research. So it's just phenomenal. Like I said, I'm still shaking my head that it's happening. Oh, wonderful.
So exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be an incredible year, I think, going forward. Yeah. So, any other questions? Anything else?
Other than, no, I just should I just email you to find out how to go ahead and do the certification? Yes, because there's probably been some conversations even between Barb and Kelly. Kelly's setting up the whole back end. Okay. So email me and I'll include them so that we can. We can get you through too, Sylvia. That's so exciting. I would love to, because it's time for me to get started on this, and I'm really excited. I've been wanting to do this for like 2 years.
Awesome. Awesome.
You know how life goes. I know you do because you've been through a lot yourself lately. So
yes, I do. I
yeah,
do. And,
yeah,
you know, right place, right time.
right.
You know, and that's it for you now. So that's great. I'm thrilled. I'm
It is.
absolutely thrilled. And then I'm going to have to put Georgia on my list of places to visit next year.
Absolutely, that would be fantastic. Or if you can't make it to Georgia, maybe I can make it to wherever you go.
I'll absolutely let everybody know.
Yeah.
It's very last minute this time around, and so we will be more organised next time.
Yeah. So you got to go to Rhode Island though, didn't you? Did I see that?
I had an amazing trip. I started off in Chicago and presented at the Family Institute, and can I tell you, that was so powerful for me to have doulas and childbirth educators in the room, and to have marriage and family therapists and social workers in the room, and to have that whole group of people to see how they could use Becoming Us and where they could refer to somebody else, and yet the parents would still be getting the same or similar support. That was wonderful for me to watch that unfold, and I'd really like to do more of that. So we called them seed planting workshops, and part of the hope was to get different professionals from different ends of the parenthood spectrum and with different areas of speciality into the same room so that they could start to create a cross-referral network. And that happened in Chicago. So there was a woman there that specialized in grief and loss. There was a woman there who was a doula. There was, you know, a woman who was a marriage and family therapist. And they all got to meet each other for the first time. They'd heard about each other, but they hadn't had the opportunity to meet. And so I'm thinking now, you know, that any family that, you know, walks into this has now got these three people connected to support them from the beginning to the end and through trauma or whatever if they need it. And I'd like for that to happen in small enough communities. It's harder to do in a big city, but in a smaller community, I would like that to happen in smaller communities everywhere, just to, you know, have the opportunity to get those people in a room together. Was one of the highlights for me. So that's really personally gratifying for me to have those people like see, oh, you could do this bit or you could do that bit, and yet I know that the parents are getting the same relationship focused support that they wouldn't get otherwise from multiple people.
Well, you know, in the United States, PSI has state chapters all over, and then each state has coordinators who work in different parts of the state. So if there would be a way to connect Becoming Us with PSI, that would be a really great way to spread it around this country.
That would be a really great way to spread it around. And, you know, having said that, you're absolutely right, because I met the PSI coordinator in Hawaii on my way home, and I've met some other PSI coordinators. That's something, you know what, once we've got in my mind, everything's waiting until the university, you know,
the study comes out.
Until the study comes out, because for me, that gives me the confidence to approach people and say, look, this works. We know that this works. I know that it works, but I can't prove that it works. And, you know, but with the study, I think that's going to be the catalyst to really put it out there. Yeah. But yes, that's a great suggestion. Thank you. That's a really brilliant suggestion.
Well, I think that is the avenue that I plan to use to get out there and start teaching. I really need to connect with the PSI people in Atlanta. And the lady that runs the birth center is a graduate of Emory. She's a nurse midwife. And, you know, she's highly respected by so many different factions of support in the Atlanta area. And if I could connect with her and with some of the other people in PSI, I think that we could at least get it started here and see how it goes.
Awesome. That's great. So. That's fantastic. That's one of the challenges that we've had, and I'm really glad you said that about getting it started. So it started and it's running in Portland. But one of the challenges that we've got is, and we haven't figured this out yet, is getting the message out that it's for all parents, that it's not for parents. We've had some feedback that some couples have been hesitant to engage because they think it's for couples who have a problem relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So we really have to get the messaging right, and I haven't had this conversation yet with Jen, who's helping us with the marketing, about, you know, what specific words do we use, how do we let couples know that this is for everybody, you know, this is for all couples, this is not for couples who have got problems. You know, I keep joking, we only need one Kardashian. There's plenty of them, we only need one. But then I did have a conversation with a marketing kind of expert, and she said, no, the Kardashians are not aligned with your brand. Your brand is much
right.
So they're not even right. So, but you know, it only takes one celebrity to say that this is a good thing, and then you get, you know, it breaks the taboo, I guess. It kind of breaks the ice. So that's something that we will be looking into down the track too, is, you know, all that sort of stuff, all the messaging, all the different avenues for marketing and that sort of thing. I need to get the website done first. All of that goes back to the website. So there's all these things kind of dependent on other things, if you like.
Right.
But everything's in the works kind of stuff.
I think as far as the marketing goes, I'm just going to make a suggestion. One of the things that impressed me about the PSI training was the emphasis on both the moms and the dads, and on the need for the dads to be supported as well. And I think if you market in such a way that you're just sending the message that this time of preparation is for whoever, it's for the partners as well as the person carrying the child. It's for, you know, whether it's a traditional couple or a non-traditional couple, everybody's needs count, and that this is a way that everybody can be cared for. I know that in marketing doula services, you want to make sure that the dad is included and that you're marketing so that the whole family is cared for. So if you just do it in that way, that, you know, where it's just, this is for everybody, this is so that you all have the most wonderful experience possible, maybe that would be just a way to start. I don't know, but
yeah, absolutely. And in my mind, that's kind of where we're coming from. But I wonder, you know, how we could really make that more clear, because that's what Becoming Us is all about. The us is about, you know, the couple.
Families.
About families, and about everybody's needs are a priority. So that's absolutely where we're coming from. I've started referring to it as the whole family approach to parenthood. Because that's kind of what it is. So that's one of the kind of terms, I suppose, that we're starting to use, and which fits beautifully with what you've just said. And you're so right. You're absolutely so right. If that's where we're coming from, that's the crux of the place that where we're coming from. And for, I guess in my mind, that's so much a part. I need to make that more overt. Like that forms everything that I do, but maybe I need to be more overt about that.
Maybe just think about specifically marketing to the entire family, and emphasizing that it's not just, you know, everything, when you think about the perinatal period, everything is focused on mom and baby. And dad is in such a, well, you know, because the course covers that in detail, about dad having so many expectations, and yet he has so many needs too. His emotional needs are just as great as hers. And I think when you're thinking in terms of, hey, this is your experience too, and let's get your husbands or let's get your partners prepared so that they can be the best support, and so that you can be a good support to them too. You know, just, I don't know, making it something that appeals to the lesser known needs, I guess. Just bringing out,
I love that.
Bringing out that lesser thought about aspect, which is that a lot of times the non-carrying partner is just as important and has just as many needs. And I think that's really, really emphasized. I love your program for that reason, because it really does cover the needs of the other partner as well as the mom, you know. And we all know that as long as both people's needs are met, they have a much better chance of a happy, smooth transition.
And coping, yeah, absolutely. Wow, you've really given me food for thought, Sylvia, because there's a bit of a distinction, I guess, in what you're saying, in that sometimes things are marketed generally to include both partners, but it kind of waters down the importance of it. But okay, I've got all these things going off in my head now.
Good.
Okay, I'm going to run this by Jen as well when we start talking about it. I'll get her to listen to this. So I'm glad I managed to record it this time, because usually I forget. So that's awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And in our posters, in our flyers for classes, I think you're absolutely right. Whatever the wording is. Please keep thinking on that, Sylvia, and if you've got any more suggestions, email them through to me and we'll include it.
Okay.
It's really key.
Okay. I'm not that good at copy or at the right phrasing or anything like that, but I do think that I guess because of I've taken all these trainings. I'm a late starter, but I think about these things all the time, and I think that when we emphasize for people that this is a way to care for everybody involved, care for all of the members of that family, I think it would appeal to moms, just because moms want their partners to be cared for, but also prepared to care for them, but if they feel like there's something for the partner, and I think that there's as much for the partner as there is for the moms in this program.
Yeah.
I really do.
I hope so. That's my hope. That's one of my hopes. So I've just written down, prepare to care for each other.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
Something like that. I think that's really key.
When I went through it, I just thought so many times about how much I wish that my husband had been able to just be supported in that way, because he was amazing and he was a huge support to me many times when I was never in a situation where I felt like I needed a diagnosis, but I was very sleep deprived. I was in situations during that childbearing period. I had my grandmother, so I was caring for my grandmother, and then I had 4 kids in a short amount of time, and we had moved and my husband was traveling. So I went through all the exhaustion, and I lost my temper really easily back then. And I look back now and I think, a little mental health help. Really wonderful. But I look at how my husband just had to soldier on and be so, he was, I feel like I couldn't have done it without him, but I don't feel like there was anybody there to support him and to bolster him up. So I think that when we focus on that, and when we remind our young moms and our families that everybody involved can benefit, and if they get these tools, they're going to know what to do, because how many dads just do not feel like they know what to do?
Yeah, absolutely. And then they feel, inadequate because, or useless even, particularly at birth. They just feel like they're a third wheel.
Yes.
They've said that. So I think that's really absolutely needs to be a really strong message. You're absolutely right. That needs to be a really strong message that's coming through, that this is for every member of the family to know how to support themselves and to support each other so that their whole family can thrive. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Oh, wonderful.
Well, thank you. I think I just feel like this program has so much promise, and I think that it's really going to make a difference for so many of these families. Having gone through that PSI training, I just think, and reading the posts on the PSI website, the moms that write in, I just see so many times how if these people could just understand. I think sometimes they're so distraught, and yet their partners are probably so distraught and probably just give up, because if they just had those tools for communicating beforehand, so that they could pull those tricks out when things get hard, I think it would make all the difference. And even knowing about postnatal depression or anxiety, if they have that knowledge, then they don't have to panic, and they know they can get help, and they know it's treatable, and it's temporary.
Yep, and it's common.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, so true. Oh, isn't it wonderful work to do, hey?
Yes, it is.
Oh, so good. So good. Well, thank you both for your time. It's lovely to spend time with you, knowing that you've been doing the training for a couple of years, I suppose, off and on, and finally to meet or almost meet, and hopefully in person someday. I'd love to get up to Canada too, Ruth. So, you know, if something gets going up in Alberta, then, you know, it'll be a great opportunity for me to come up and meet everybody. And, yeah, okay. All right, well, I'll put my thinking cap on about that too, so I don't leave you out. So I'll email you. I think they're in Alberta Health Services.
Yeah, Alberta's big, so just just forward me their information and I can connect with them.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure exactly where they're located, but yeah, it'd be lovely for the three of you to connect and to, you know, to have each other as supports as well. Wonderful stuff. All right, well, we've got so much going on and so much to look forward to over the next 12 months. I'm ridiculously excited to be sharing things with you as they unfold, but staying connected is just as important to me, even more so, I think. So thanks for making the time today, and guess I'll see you online somewhere.
Okay.
And hopefully the connection call as well. All righty.
Take care.
Okay.
Have a good
Fantastic. Have a great evening, whatever time it is there, and I'll talk to you both soon.
Okay, bye, Ellie.
Thanks, Sylvia. See you. Bye, Ruth. Thanks again. Thanks for making it. Best to you both. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.